Hey, this is Dr. George James, another On the Couch with Dr. J. Recently, we learned about Chrissy Teigen and John Legend's loss, their profound loss of their son Jack through miscarriage. Their experience, their agony, their pain, they were willing to share with everyone. And although some couples might keep this private, or some couples have not had the chance to share, or maybe have felt some shame or embarrassment around disclosing this to others, the ability for John and Chrissy to share this has impacted so many in a good and positive way that many people have now felt seen or heard, or to feel like their experience and their journey counts, and most importantly to feel like they're not alone. And that's just important in this process where you have loss and you're grieving, and sometimes you feel like you're by yourself, or no one gets it or understands it, and to be able to put such pain out in the public has really helped so many people. And as a therapist, I see this often in my work with couples and parents to be who have experienced a miscarriage, or maybe somewhere throughout their journey this has been something they've experienced, and it comes up in our work and talking about some of the pain or things that they're dealing with or trying to overcome. And although my wife and I have not experienced this direct pain, I remember in stories I would hear with my mother and how she would share with me thoughts about her own miscarriage experience, actually the two miscarriages that she's had, and the pain that brought for her, and the loss that I could still hear years later, the thoughts of what she hoped for and wanted, being her only son, the hope that she had to have a girl, the hope that she had to have another child, and the loss that came with the miscarriage. And as I mentioned, as a therapist, I just see this come up in so many ways. And there's just a few things I just want to highlight for everyone that's out there. One of the things is I want you to think about that this is a loss, and it's hard for any parent to lose a child. It is hard for anyone to go through the experience where you believe that your child is supposed to outlive you, and to have your child die before you is hard, whether that be because of an illness, an incident, an accident, violence, or even through what we're talking about today, miscarriage. It's hard. And it's hard because you start to think about the future of that child. You start to think about what will they do, how will they do it, how will they add to your family, what you will do, uh, adventures, experiences. You have dreams, you have hopes, you have aspirations for you, your child, your family. And to have that loss becomes hard. And you go through the various stages of loss and grief, and you might also then have to go back to work or other responsibilities, or you might already have a family that you still have to be connected to, and all these things are happening at the same time. And maybe you've shared to some folks or some people in your network, but you could still feel isolated, like they don't get it, they don't get your experience, they don't get what you're going through, or they don't know what to say, and you don't know what to say to them, and it just feels awkward and hard and challenging. I also want to highlight that many couples grieve differently, that what one person goes through or how one person thinks about the loss is not always the same way their partner might think about the loss. And I see this happen so much that, for instance, I've seen where one person in the couple might be heartbroken and feeling the pain, but might be thinking about, well, one way to get through the pain is to maybe think about what's next, is to maybe to move forward, is maybe to even think about another child sooner than later. While the other partner might be thinking that this is just so tough and so hard that I can't think of anything else right now, and I don't want to think about the future. I just want to think about our loss. I just want to be in that place and think about and hold on to the memory of that child. And this division, these challenges that couples can experience, this difference in how they grieve, can sometimes cause tension and pain for the couple. Because sometimes we feel like when we're in a relationship that our partner should feel the same way we feel, or should go through the emotions that we're going through. should grieve the way that we grieve. And that's not always the case. And so therefore there becomes this challenge where people then start to feel negative emotions towards their partner, or anger or frustration or distance. And that adds on to the pain that you're already going through. Now you're going through pain within your relationship. Other thing that I've seen is, for many mothers going through this loss, it's hard. You've been going through the pregnancy. Maybe you even started to feel the child move. Maybe you've experienced the hormonal changes. You've had this deep personal biological connection, emotional bond with this child. And to lose that child is so hard. It is so tough. And it's sometimes a feeling that you think that someone might not understand or really get, and you can feel alone in that pain. I've also seen, because I've had an ability to work with so many men over the years, that sometimes the belief is that a father does not feel that pain or does not feel that loss. Or the father is struggling with, how do I express that pain? Because what they're used to is maybe holding on to their emotions, or only expressing their emotions in one or two ways. But I've seen so many fathers hurt, cry, be in pain and agony, and not know what to do, or might not know how to comfort their partner in this experience, not know what is the best way to deal with it. And I just want to highlight that there's many fathers out there that are hurting. Sometimes you might not see it in their external expression, but deeper, they are going through this pain. And I would encourage the mothers who feel isolated or alone, or this deep, deep pain, that you can find support or help or connection. And the fathers maybe who don't know how to express, or are struggling with the emotions that are going on, and how to be there for their partner as well as for themselves, that it's okay to feel pain, and it's okay to feel various emotions, and it's okay to share those emotions, to share with each other, to communicate. Because once again, it's already hard enough that you're going through this loss, this pain. I wouldn't want you to then have the additional pain of the relationship going through a struggle, or going through its own loss, and have a negative impact. I mentioned my mother, and she would share that the second miscarriage for her was so hard for her that she needed to just go spend some time with a friend and just be. She needed to take time off from work, from other things, and just be in a place where she could cry and hurt and go through the different emotions. And that meant my parents had to figure out how to grieve separately, and then to come back together. And many of you might need to figure out, how do you grieve within your relationship? Maybe separately, maybe in a way that is different from the other person, but then to find a way to come back together, and most importantly, to communicate about it. Overall, I just want to encourage you all to get some support. Maybe it's time to see a therapist. Maybe there's some other things that you've already been struggling with in the relationship, and then this just adds another layer, and maybe hurts the communication, or the vulnerability, or the things that you have been trying to do in the relationship. It's hard enough to deal with the loss. And I hope and believe that Chrissy Teigen and John Legend will get the support that they need. We'll share with each other how to support each other, but then also maybe find ways how to get support individually. And that is my hope for you. Even if this was years ago, even if this was a long time ago, you still might be feeling the pain. You still might have some resentment or hurt towards your partner. And maybe it's time to talk about it and work through it, because you have that ability. So get some support, get some help, but overall communicate and work through it, because I know this is hard, but I know you can also do it. This is another On the Couch with Dr. J.